This post from the 2X chromosome subreddit, it hits hard because it speaks to boundaries, it speaks to love isn't enough, and it speaks to how these dudes really need to work on getting their mental health together. So this woman posts, ending my relationship with the best man I've ever been with. Let's look at this one. I want to share this because it took me a few relationships to learn this lesson. And I see women post here all the time that seem to struggle with similar dynamics. Maybe someone will read this and save themselves some time and heartache. So she's 35, he's 37. She says, I met this wonderful man almost exactly a year ago. He moved in January, and we've been engaged a few months now. We often call each other husband and wife. The paperwork doesn't actually feel important. I've never felt so seen and supported by a man. We get each other's autism and polyamory. Anyone that has navigated either of those dynamics in relationships know how challenging that can be. We've always been on the same page since day one, though. We don't fight. We have had frustrations and misunderstandings, but the communication has been clear and easy. The sex is the best I've ever had, which is saying something with my body count. LOL. He prioritizes and spoils me every day, tells me I'm gorgeous, and does everything he can to make my life easier. My cats love him, and I love his cat. He's kind, honest, empathetic, just an absolute ray of sunshine most of the time. But my sweet man got dealt a shitty combo of autism, bipolar, CPTSD, and hypersexuality. He's done so much therapy, he takes medication, and he's never projected his bad or tough feelings onto me. He's incredibly aware and intentional of how his emotions and episodes can impact other people. He's definitely kind of a mess most of the time, an ultimate type B, but he tries so hard every effing day. And I just can't stay in this because despite all of his awareness and intention, I am becoming his therapist and life planner slash fixer. We both see it happening. We've tried to address it and make adjustments. But at the end of the day, he doesn't believe he deserves this or that. He can fix himself. And if we're living together as partners, I will have to step in again and again to take care of the things he can't manage in the moment. I won't be in another relationship where I'm doing twice the emotional and domestic labor. I've told him I want to support him and work on things if he will take steps to change his negative self-perception, repeating pattern of relationship sabotage, and relapses into weaponized incompetence. But I'm not going to fight for this if he's decided there's nothing that can be done to change what's happening. I'm brokenhearted to lose this man. I've had quite a few relationships, and I know people always think the one they're in is it. I haven't actually thought that about most of my relationships. I don't really care to get married or live with someone else, but I feel different with him. But I can't make him actually happy or feel good about himself. And if we stay together, it'll kill me every time I'm reminded that's what he always feels. And I'll subconsciously overextend myself to save him. And it will eventually sour both of us. Don't stay with a man just because he loves you and has a good soul. Most of us spend years trying to make it work with these men, believing in their ability to do the internal work and one day wake up and be happy and content with themselves. And maybe some of them do get there, but it's more likely that you'll drain yourself trying to help them change something they've accepted will never change. That's it. You'll drain yourself. Women have got to stop draining themselves and their life force for these dudes. And my exes that have had the same issue were so harmful. They hadn't done any work in the relationship with all of them resulted in me being emotionally abused. You need a partner that also shows up and cares for themselves. If that's not there, it will inevitably become your job. You can be external support. You can't replace their internal support. Don't exhaust yourself or lose years of your life trying to convince someone to love themselves. I've done that with 3 men already. The one I'm with now is amazing and deserves all the love in the world, but I've learned that I can't bring him someplace he doesn't even believe exists. So we're going to let each other go. While we still love each other deeply, I'm choosing myself. Yo, this is This is a major sermon, and we need to have these conversations. Women need to stop allowing these people to connect to them and suck out their life force. Even the good intentioned parasite is still a parasite and sucking your life force. This is how women get pushed down to the nub, just worn completely out because they are doing too much. We are not put here to be other people's therapists. Even their therapists go home. They get to have 1 or 2 hours a week or whatnot with these people, and then they go home. You cannot be everything to everybody. And these dudes need to tackle their mental health issues like they do their physical health issues. And some of them don't do that. But still, that's the whole point. They need to do all of that to be complete and healthy human beings. And it's not women's jobs to constantly have to mother the people that they're in romantic relationships with. Bars. Yes, a sermon. And actually, y'all, if you're on YouTube and you see this as a standalone post and this post, it's because this conversation needs to be had a couple of different times. Forsyth Jones says, this is such a hard, grown up kind of love, realizing someone can be kind and wonderful and still not be a healthy, long term partner for you. It takes a lot of self awareness to see the caretaking pattern forming and step away before you lose yourself again. Choosing yourself here isn't selfish, it's protective. It's that self preservation that I always talk about. Scandranon says, this is why very early on in dating my now husband, I told him in no uncertain terms that I could not be his therapist for his personal trauma any longer. He took my advice to heart and saw an art therapist for a couple of years until he felt stable enough to not need her anymore. It had taken me 2 very unstable relationships involving trauma and drugs to get to the point where I was able to just put my foot down and say no more. Go tell it to a professional. But 5 years down the line, I am so glad I did. Hello, I'm Beth says, I love this for you. Without wanting to pry, if you're not comfortable disclosing, how did you realize you were in the therapist role? And was he open to therapy from the get-go of you mentioning it? Or did it take a while for him to get there? And then Scandranon says, he was disclosing some very heavy personal stuff. And I realized I was doing what I had always done in previous relationships, trying to help him work through it. I love that he felt comfortable enough to open up to me, but sobbing on my shoulder night after night was not the way. When I introduced the idea of therapy, he was initially resistant because he hadn't felt like it helped in the past, which I get. I've had poopy therapists too, but I've also had really good ones. So I encouraged him to keep looking for someone who fit his idea of what therapy looked like. He found her fairly quickly, all things considered, and saw her for a little over 2 years while he worked through his traumas. He's an entirely different man these days in all the best ways. Here's the OP saying, I'm so happy he was able to find someone to support him in that area and you two figured it out. We, of course, want to support our partner and want them to feel safe enough to share those tough things with us, but we can't help them navigate the trauma dumps and flashbacks and inappropriate reactions that are a weekly occurrence. Scandranon says, please know, my lived experience is not at all a reflection or a critique of how y'all have handled your situation. Your experience is very much like my previous relationships, and I know there is a point of oversaturation where you are just tired, but continue because of status quo, comfort, or ease. Deciding not to continue helping isn't a reflection on you. It is a reflection on your partner taking the seemingly easy path and not doing the hard thing of having the difficult conversations with someone trained to actually help, rather than being in an echo chamber. I'm proud of you for walking away. I know it hurts badly, but you are doing what is right for you, and that is important. And then the OP says, oh, I felt nothing but empathy and understanding from your comment, and it genuinely made me happy to hear from someone that had worked through it with their partner. I know it's possible. I wanted to share that it's okay to walk away when you don't have the capacity to get someone where they need to go. I've taken too long to do it myself too many times, and I see it in other women so often, men too, to be frank. But if you can set the right boundaries and expectations and have the capacity for each other to make it work, even better. Now we have a man. He says, dang, I didn't check as many boxes as this Adonis, and my girl left me for not sharing any of my problems with her. And then Scandronon says to him, there is a massive difference between emotionally closed off to the point you won't share what bothered you at work that day and trauma dumping about your past night after night. Why these dudes act so obtuse is just amazing, but they manage to do it in women's comment sections all the time. I'll end it there, but I do want to remind women that self-preservation isn't selfish. You are a human. You deserve to have some of your life force too. Do not allow other people to suck you dry. Join the conversation, y'all. Like I said, if you're on my YouTube, you might see this twice. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Now we have boundaries in dating and negging. And you can see this one's fresh off the presses. I got this one 1 hour after she posted this in the Dating Over 40 subreddit. She was like, I was right? Short post. She says, the person I was dating is a university lecturer. One day during a random conversation and trying to compliment me, he said, you're attractive, but nothing crazy that makes other women hate you. Negging right there. You're attractive, but nothing crazy that makes other women hate you. You hear that backhanded compliment right there? That is negging. She says, taken aback, I first inquired about his assertion that women hate attractive women, then asked whether he had dated women that were this top level of attractiveness. He instead referenced some of his students, didn't name names, as being this attractive. He was typically a sweet, kind partner, but this just made me feel like garbage and also seemed like a giant red flag and something we couldn't return from. I broke up with him. When I questioned him about it, he said I was projecting from my last relationship. I miss him terribly, though. Did I make a mistake? For more context, he stays 1.5 hours late to consistently to chat with his students and also follows them on Instagram. When men do this, they are looking to push your self-esteem down, maybe 7 to 10 notches. Why can't you just give a compliment? Why can't you just support someone, compliment them, make them feel good about themselves for the day or the hour or whatnot? Why do you need to say you're attractive, but I like you, but I typically don't? You know, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. You're pretty for a plus-size woman. Absolutely not. We're not accepting this negging and these backhanded compliments. If they don't like you, if what they typically like is that over there, let them go to that over there. They need to stop trying to bring down your self-esteem with these dumb, outdated pickup artist tactics. We're not falling for this anymore, and we're talking about them consistently so that other women can leave these dudes alone. Kent Suji says, so you learn 2 things about him through this. 1, he is insecure and was trying to neg you. 2, he looks at his students who are in their teens and early 20s in a sexual manner. It was 100% not a mistake to throw this one in the trash where he belongs. Here we have the OP weighing in, says, thank you for your reassurance. I don't think he was. I guess that was how he really felt and perceived me. I'm a 40-year-old mom with 2 young kiddos. I think I'm attractive, but I'm not 22. And you have Low Ad says, that doesn't matter. You're not competing with anyone, let alone 22-year-olds. If he's listing students that he finds attractive, he's a highly unethical person with no principles. You were right to bounce. Kent Suji says, this is how he wanted you to feel. Don't give that to him. The beauty of a 22-year-old does not detract from yours. This man was unfortunately just a loser, and luckily he showed that to you sooner than later. Then we got Psychological No says, how dare he insult your looks in that way? Also commenting on his students, no, no, and no. You did the right thing. He sounds like a piece of work. And if you let that pass, I'm guessing it could only get worse. Professional Dot says, I'm a uni professor. Don't look at my students that way. You, hard pass. And then we got Prepend saying, so you're not aware of your students who are attractive. Is it possible to acknowledge a physical reality without being skeevy? Maybe you just have really ugly students. Do you teach engineering? This person has gotten downvoted to hell already. This is only 1 hour into this post, and he had only posted this 17 minutes ago. The uni professor says, nope, I actually do not consider people that could be my children sexually attractive. I am a woman, and I would say this is the natural reaction for most of us. I honestly regard any other reaction as quite disgusting, but somehow I'm the weird one, eh? And then Roche Adiddle says, I am a man and I agree with you 100%. I recently had to go to a university campus for a job, and in my mind, my memory of university was that I and all the other students were adults. When I got there, I was absolutely shocked at how young everyone looked. They looked like how I remember feeling in junior high school. They looked like literal children to me. Glamosaurus says he was negging you. He also used his students who were very attractive as a way to make you feel insecure. I would no longer be interested in someone who said that to me. We got Ali God saying, following his students on Instagram, referring to some of them as top tier attractiveness, telling you you aren't as attractive as some of his students. You were right. We got Sentinel High says, he's not careful with his words. Callous. Cut him loose. We got Even Math says, it's called a backhanded compliment. You were right. Now we have some men. Common Astronaut says, maybe he was just being direct and honest in an awkward professor-like way. Of course, it was his mistake to assume you could handle his honesty. Negative 15 downvotes. We got Kintsugi says, I was just being honest is a typical response of a-holes who were called out for being a-holes. She is not to blame here. We got the man again saying, I'm glad you can admit that you don't really want your partner to be honest with you. Most do not have that kind of self-awareness. Kintsugi says, LOL, being honest and being an a-hole are not the same thing, but I'm sure confusing the two has been working out well for you. Have a blessed day. We have another man. This is King Roach. King Roach, another man. He says, so an academic told you a hard truth and you reacted so poorly to honesty that you broke up with him. Cool story. We got Kintsugi in the comments real hardcore saying this is not the hard truth. More women don't hate other women just because they are more attractive than them. Sorry. Here's the OP saying, if I'm not that attractive, go date your students. I guess was my thought. Also, I was one of his students at one point. King Roach says, from your perspective, why is being that attractive the most important thing in a relationship? It seems he values you more than just your looks. To be clear, he didn't say you were unattractive, more like you're not perfect, but you're perfect for me. Why does he even need to say all of that? This is where if men would actually listen to women, if they would listen to women versus these dudes that are helping them with these dumb lines, then maybe they could see how to talk to people. Like you can give a compliment, you can give a truth without comparison. It's unnecessary, but they won't learn these lessons because they're hard-headed and don't listen to women. And finally, here's the OP. I'll end it here saying the student's comment also gave me the ick. I'm a college professor and it just didn't sit well. Also, you can think it and maybe that is the objective truth. I'm not 22, but that's an inside thought. I didn't like being positioned as less than. There you have it. That is what they try to do. They want you to feel less than. All right, y'all, join the conversation. This is about negging, boundaries, and leaving these people alone. Make these dudes lonelier. We have another conversation about boundaries. This is boundaries within a family. And trigger warning, she is having a conversation about gRape. She wasn't graped, but she is talking about it. So I'm just putting that out there. All right, so the brother is 16, she's 18. She says, cutting off my 16-year-old brother for implying gRape can be ethical. And I absolutely hate how we have to use certain words to navigate censorship. It's It's definitely annoying, but we're going to get through this post together. She says, my younger brother and I grew up pretty close. I always viewed him as a friend before a sibling, and we've had a lot of deep conversations. I started reading about radical feminism since I was 10 and have been pretty outspoken and loud about my beliefs. He's seen that. He knows where I stand on violence against women. Today, we were talking and the topic of actual violence in wars came up. He said as a reaction during war could be justified, adding moral and ethical depending on the context. Then doubled down and said ethics vary by timeline, and just because it's unethical to me now doesn't mean it was back then. I don't even know what to think. GRape isn't some abstract philosophical debate to me. Neither should it be to anyone, and it's a deeply personal and extremely sensitive subject to me. Hearing my own brother talk about it like it's some relative moral concept felt like the ground dropped out from under me. I genuinely felt sick. I told him calmly that I was done with this conversation and that I don't want to talk to him ever again. And I meant it in that moment. I still do. I'm not angry in a yelling way. I'm just devastated and disappointed. I had some hope for the kind of man he'd grow up to be. I thought we shared the same basic values about bodily autonomy and human dignity. I don't even know how you educate someone out of thinking GRape can ever be moral. What's there to debate? I don't know if I'm overreacting. I don't know if this is just a stupid 16-year-old take and he'll grow out of it as my family would love to come to his defense. But even then, I don't know if I can move past it. I can't stop crying. I feel like I lost my best friend in a single conversation. I never thought he'd ever think this way. So I guess I'm just looking for perspective. Has anyone dealt with something similar? This is a hot mess, and I can understand where this young lady is. There is no moral equivocating. There's no justification or rationalizing being in war and harming women. And many times it's not just harming women. It's harming women and children, and they just use the weapon of their pain. This is no different than traumatizing somebody with violence in other ways. There's no moral justification for this that he can come up with. And she's hurt, and she doesn't know what to do with that hurt because she is used to, she's conflicted in being disgusted and loving this person since he was born. So I get why she is confused in this moment. And she probably doesn't think after having this conversation that he's ever going to change his mind, because we're living in a patriarchy where women violence against women is not taken seriously. So to hear your own brother down talk it and try to rationalize it on some level like this, it has to be hard. So I get where she's coming from and why she's so hurt. Before I started filming this, I did go to the post. She has taken down the post. And it's because of some of the commentary on this where they're actually, let's just look at the post. Look at the comments, because like I said, she's taken it down now. All right, so it says, he would never think that if he was the one being graped. GRape can only be considered ethical if you think the target of GRape is owned by men and can be stolen or conquered by other men, equivalent to sacking of property or taking of livestock. Soup says, I'd honestly make him learn about the GRape of negging and comfort women. I don't know how else to otherwise make him realize the extent of his words than to make him witness what happens to those that survive it. Traumatize him with what happens when men like him grow up to become soldiers and those with power. Wander and Wonder says, he's 16. I think he needs to go to therapy, and I think you should tell your parents. Middle Klutzy says, OP should definitely talk to their parents. The OP says, I did. I asked her, what did they say? She says they'll discuss this with him first and then with a counselor to determine whether he needs professional help or not. Wise Phoenix says, at 16, he's old enough to know right from wrong. At 16, he is also impressionable and may have been influenced by negative influences. Not talking to him will not help. You need to tell your parents and help him get some counseling. He needs to be taught that violence is never right. Don't write him off. Amaret Nestes, I agree with this. 16 is old enough to be challenged on harmful ideas, but it's also an age where people repeat things they've picked up without really understanding the impact. Cutting him off permanently might close the door on actually changing his perspective. Someone he respects pushing back and explaining why that thinking is dangerous could matter a lot. So these two women want her to take on that responsibility, which I do not believe is her responsibility. She cannot make this 16-year-old who, like this person says, should know right from wrong, but they want her to keep it open. Like having this discussion is not harmful to her. This is harmful to her. This has hurt her deeply, but they're just like, keep the door open. Maybe she doesn't want to right now because she has been harmed by his thoughts and feelings. Oh, Lucidity says, oh, wow, he doesn't need to be cut off. He needs help understanding before this ideology solidifies. The fact that they want her to take this on, she's only 18. It's not like she's a grown woman. She's only 18. They really want her to take on this role. This is their parents' role. This is not her role. Necessary Tour says, while your feelings are justified, cutting him off is not. Ugh. This is the reason why, I bet this is the reason why she took this down. He's 16 and impressionable, and at that age, you don't synthesize information against your own morals. You just take things as they come. Cutting people off is the lowest form of activism. Be better than that. I am honestly disgusted with that person. Here's the OP saying, I fear I was 16 not that long ago. I believe I know what it's like to be one better. He grew up exactly how I did, the same environment that managed to raise my siblings at 16 and even the one younger than him to understand the basic fundamental weight of gRape. This was never some morally confusing gray area. We were raised by highly educated parents in an environment where critical thinking and basic empathy aren't optional. There's absolutely nothing about our background or about being 16 would ever logically lead any of us to think that raping women as revenge in wars is valid or ethical, as if those women are just property tied to soldiers, but lack of empathy. The fact that this 18-year-old has more sense than these women, I mean, I don't know if they're all women, but it's the women's subreddit, is amazing to me. The way she is speaking so clearly and these other people are like, you just never know. I am honestly, that I did reach out to Doesn't Matter, and I hope that she responds back because I think that she needs a community of women that won't equivocate what her brother is saying and won't make it her responsibility to bring him into the fold and, just give him another or a different perspective. Because of those comments, she came back and made another comment on the post. She says, I don't get why people keep misunderstanding me. I'm not pissed because of historical context. I'm aware they were normalized back then. I'm pissed because my own little brother thinks it's okay. Not because Big Sis is taking this personally because of her beliefs and would have preferred her brother to share her point of view. Like he actually identifies with it, like it's fine. And then people keep defending him with, well, it was normal back then. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not debating history. I'm furious that he thinks this behavior is acceptable. How is that so hard to understand? And then I said to her, it's indefensible, and I'm unsure why women are misunderstanding you. Grown women at that. And then Dizzy Asparagus says, grown women telling her to educate him instead of cutting him off as if it's her responsibility. Like she's just 18. Exactly. She's just 18, but she still has more sense than some of these women. And I'm honestly kind of disgusted with some of these women on this post. But I'm glad that she has her head on straight and that she's standing 10 toes down with her belief system. And we need to support these young feminists like this. So I am attaching my Nightmare Dating Profiles video from yesterday. I'm doing that because it doesn't get the views it deserves. And I think that some of the ladies might avoid these videos for whatever reason, but y'all need to know that these are hilarious. So for the people that haven't seen them, for the women that might have been avoiding my Nightmare Dating Profiles video, they don't get the views, and I'm just sure that you just needed to be exposed to them. So I am putting it right here at the end of my compilation video. So give it a shot if you haven't yet watched them. It's time for our next episode of Nightmare Dating Profiles. And this is your blanket trigger warning. If you're drinking anything, please push it to the side. If you're eating anything, please swallow it completely. We do not want to get anything stuck in your throat. And this is how I'm feeling. This is how I'm feeling about these dating profiles. This is how I'm feeling about seeing some of these interactions and how men talk to women. I am just sad for straight single women who are still looking because it seems quite a mess out there. Let's look at some of these profiles. We're going to start with this text exchange because this is hilarious. This is the quickest exchange I've ever seen. So he says, hey, this is chillin'. He says, hey. She says, hey. He says, WYD, what are you doing? And she blocked him. She's like, we're not doing these low effort conversations. Absolutely not. You are not going to waste my time. She has opened it and closed it. Chillin' is now blocked. We have another one, another text exchange. This is Mikey D. He says, hey. She says, hey. He says, how are you doing, ma'am? She says, I'm good. How are you? He says, good. You single? She says, yes. Notice he's already been blocked. Let's see why. After she says that, yes, she is indeed single, he asks her, can you handle 11 inches? That is what he asked after, are you single? She says, please be effing serious. Please be effing serious. He says, yes, ma'am, I am. She says, I can handle 11 inches. Will you be the one giving it to me? Absolutely not. Does the peace sign and blocked mic. The fact that they come out so sexual with these women, it is absolutely disgusting and they should know better, but they don't because they keep doing it. Anyways, grand opening, grand closing. And now we have this scruffy potato head man named Jeff, who's 57. He says to this beautiful lady, let's naked video chat. The audacity and gall of this sprouting potato to say that to this beautiful woman. And then at the bottom, he says, a small town guy with a big heart seeking a partner to share laughter and adventure with, and apparently naked video chat. How dare you, Jeff? How dare you talk to this woman like this? This is Jeff. He says, my personality type is spontaneous ambition, quirky, like corking a wine bottle. But this is what the potato looks like when it's been peeled a little bit. You cannot tell me that this does not look like a potato head. Now we have William, who's 50. And when I saw this, I'm so done. I'm so done for you women. But William, who's 50, is posing in a bathroom. He got his thing on the sink. Gross. Out here without a shirt, like that's going to reel the women in. And he has his phone number on his dating profile. Just text me. He gives his phone number. He says, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. We don't want to know nothing, William. Here's another picture so you can kind of see the top part of his head. He says, the best dating advice I can give you, don't be a lazy lover. Okay, that's all. So take that, put it in your back pocket. William, who's 50, says, don't be a lazy lover. Here he is with a blurry photo, a blurry selfie, letting us know that he is a football fan, just in case you cared about his autographed football. And then he shows us this, his prom picture from 1980. Like, what is going on? He says that he is 50, but I absolutely do not believe that this man is 50, like he's 5 years older than me. Absolutely. William, you need to stop playing games with me. So this is a man. It says Raquel right there, Raquel. He is absolutely a man. His parents set him up for the okie doke from the very beginning. But he sends a message to this woman. Listen to this message. Hello, sissy. I'm in town for a couple of days or weeks and would love to vibe with you, talk to you, and have sex with you. I do like what I see. I'm sorry. This message got me. But anyways, he says that he's handsome. Put that in your back pocket. The word handsome is doing a lot of work in this message. But here's his profile, his about me. He says, handsome, hardworking guy looking for nice lady to get to know. I smoke, drink. I have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy. I like to do the simple things, arcade, bowling, skating. I have my own house. Looking for car. I'm good at body massage. I have thing for pretty toes. So he's about to go out. He's going to spend some time in her town for days or weeks, but he does have a house. He might not have a job, but he has a house. He's looking for a car. He has 3 kids. Okay, he's looking to go arcade bowling skating with somebody. Let's look at what Raquel looks like. Oh, real quick, he does smoke and drink often. So he's out here, doing the most. Remember, he said handsome. This is Raquel, who's 34. Why his parents named him Raquel? Why did they set him up for that? This is Mr. Handsome Raquel. Y'all let me know. What do you think? How handsome do you give him a rating? All right, y'all got to hear and see this profile. This is Mikhail, who's 32. He sends a message to this woman saying, oh, damn. All right, listen to this. You got to listen real closely. He says, no kids, no house, broke, loyal. What you see is what you get. Bald, no front tooth. No front tooth, y'all. Read it and weep. No weed, cigs, vapes, alcohol, a healthy diet, etc. Getting back to exercising. I'm boring. I don't care. Don't be high maintenance. I don't care for that. Life is simple. Be simple. I like white girls that can spell. If you write on instead of I don't really want nothing to do with you. The same way you write black men only. I only like white women. It's a preference. Stop crying. So, ladies, if you are not a white woman, please step to the back. White ladies, here is your chance to get you a man with no front tooth. All right, so here's a picture of Mikhail. Yes, he looks like a thumb. Yes, he's pointing to his teeth to show us that they are sad. Let's just get just a little closer just because I'm petty. White ladies, go ahead and chime in. Mikhail, 32, what do you think? He doesn't drink, smoke, vape, nothing. And he don't like it when you write on. So he said he don't be liking that. just like his tooth didn't like being in his mouth. All right, now let's meet Pablo. Pablo is 24. Here's about me. I want somebody who not finna play about me. ROD behavior. I don't know what ROD behavior, but he says ROD behavior only, ho. Do not come for me with no time limits, constraints, or whatever from your scarring. Baby, go heal. All right, that's Pablo. That's his dating profile. But I just really needed to show y'all this outfit because this outfit just irritated my whole soul. Like, why is he wearing these baggy pants that are falling off? And why does he have an AK-47 in his pants? And just why? This whole picture, he looks like a clown. He looks like he's playing a gangster clown and about to go on to do a show right now. And here's another photo of him. I don't know what it's giving, but it's giving something. Pablo, who's 24. This is Unique right here. And Unique, put the number 37 right there. And we need to know what this number 37 is actually representing. He says, dark skin, 5'11", 165 pounds, born and raised in Patterson, New Jersey, but now live in Roanoke, Virginia. And I am indeed a single man. That indeed got me because I wouldn't have even guessed that Unique was indeed a single man. All the ladies are not rushing to this profile to swoop him up. That's Unique who put the number 37. Jump in the chat and let me know, what does 37 stand for? All right, now we got Sam, who's 30. He says, live in Orange County, British accent included. He lets us know he is a hottie and an effing delight. Athlete, but will still eat pizza and rock. Cute dates and coffee. Here's a face photo of this hottie and an effing delight. And then we got one more picture. This is Sam as well. And I am confused about this, but this is his muscles and they looked very interestingly defined. All right, chime in, Sam, who's 30. This isn't a dating profile, but y'all needed to see this. Keandria posted this saying, B-Rad from Malibu here has a lot to say about Black women, but he thought he was going to say it privately. Think again, bucko. Don't be shy. If you're going to talk Say it with your whole bird chest, not in my inbox. Let's look at B Rad. He says, why do you black women have such an inferiority complex? Is it from not being chosen? Is it from being the least desired group of women by every male demographics preference? Let me know. B Rad right here is basically parroting what a lot of black men say to black women. It sucks that black men have opened up the gate and left it open for these dudes to insult all of us. But that is B Rad. And he definitely looks like he wants to play a gangster on TV. So this is a bigger picture of B Rad. But this was my main reason for posting this because I had to get a close up on that hand. I was like, what is going on with his hand? His hand looks like it's almost a skeleton or something. What is going on? All right, that is how I'm closing it out with this hand that looks like it's almost dead or something. Y'all chime in. Who was the best out of this pack of eligible bachelors? Yes, that's what we'll call them, eligible bachelors.